Well, good morning. Trucker Todd here, and time for another video. All right, folks, I've been wanting to do this video for a while now, and now I can. I'm going to talk about what I've been doing the last 6 months since the stroke. So, for those that are watching this for the first time, maybe you're curious about AT&T and working there. I got to give you a little backstory. March 14th, I had multiple strokes in one day. Fortunately, they were minor strokes, and so I was unable to drive a truck for a minimum of 6 months. I recently became eligible to drive a truck again, but I had to wait that minimum of 6 months. So during that 6 months, I got out of the hospital, and I needed to find a job that was a little bit mental, required me to use my brain thinking so that I could re-strengthen my brain after the stroke. Something that was indoors, air conditioned, that wasn't super physical. And so that turned out to be an AT&T call center here in Lubbock, Texas. Now, I worked in the loyalty and retention department, and this is going to be kind of a review of that job, so you're going to hear some good and bad about it, but I'm going to tell you that overall it was a positive experience. I enjoyed working there, things like that. So the the application process is a little lengthy, taking several weeks, couple of phone interviews. If I remember correctly, I think we even did a video interview, but don't hold me to that. And then the training was 6 weeks, 40 hours a week. And, it was, you learn a lot. I could argue that there's some things that I wish we would have got more of that we didn't get. Towards the end of that training, you sit down, plug in, and listen to other reps on the phone. And I felt like that was really advantageous. The people that they put me with were really, really good on the phone, and I felt like I learned probably more from that than I did in the 6 weeks of training. But I met a lot of great people, all different in their backgrounds, ages, some older than me, some younger than me, different ethnicities, things like that. So it was a real, real good experience. Some of them I'm still friends with, still talk to, and plan on continuing to talk to going forward. As we moved out into the floor, my first manager was super. I learned so much from him, and so that helped me to grow and be pretty successful there. My second manager was not as great in my opinion. Nice guy. I've often said he'd be fun to go fishing with or have a barbecue with, but I wasn't a big fan of his management style. And then my third manager, they trade him every few months, ended up being the one I had at the beginning and was really good. And so I got back to learning a lot and flourishing there. A lot of things they told us. I started there April 29th, didn't come to fruition. They told us that we'd start receiving commissions in July. We did not. They told us that the commissions would average about $2,200 to $2,300 a month for a lot of people. That turned out to not be true either. Now, if you factor in your regular pay with commissions, then yeah, it might be $2,200 or $2,300, but a little bit of an exaggeration there about what the commissions would be. But that's to be expected. A lot of sales jobs are that way. They promise you the moon and stars, and even trucking's that way. And then when you get there, a lot of times it doesn't work out to be what they said it would. They also, just several things like that. My checks were always smaller than I was expecting. I couldn't figure out why. Everything's on computer, and they don't really explain a lot of that stuff real well, or they didn't with our class in my experience. But my W-4, which is where you figure out your withholding, they didn't get it put in the system. Now, I filled it out prior to going to training, but they didn't get it put in the system. And when they don't get it put in the system, they charge you the maximum tax rate. So I had sometimes close to $1,000 a month in taxes coming out. Now, for some of you, you're going, oh, well, that's not bad. But at this income bracket, it's pretty bad. It's about 40% or so. So I couldn't figure out why my checks were so little. And that's why. Once I got that fixed, things would get better. But ultimately, it ended up being the reason I had to leave AT&T. Prior to having the strokes, I was living a pretty good life financially. And when the stroke came, my income went way down, but my expenses did not go down. And for that, that's not AT&T's fault. That's my fault. And so I did have a great experience there. I did learn a lot and meet a lot of great people. Now, as far as AT&T, the company, let's talk about them for a second. They held team meetings usually once or twice a week. And I don't know if it's this way with all the managers or with all the company, but in my situation, we were always encouraged to do what was the right thing for the customer. Now, we still had to follow AT&T policies, but if we owed a customer some money for an error on the bill or something, they wanted us to make it right. If we told a customer we was going to do something, like change a plan or something like that, we better do it or we'd get written up. We had a lot of disclosures we had to read to the customer, and as to be in compliance with the FCC. And failure to read one of those disclosures, if you got caught, could be a serious violation. And so I liked how moral and ethical they were regarding those things. There were some new policies and things that were coming into effect that made a lot of the agents nervous. And it was basically performance-based stuff. For me, my quota was like 2.25 sales a month. And, I hit 4 this month in my first week. So the month before, I think I was at 5. The month before, I was at like 6 or 7. So the quotas were never an issue for me. But for some people, I remember a girl on my team, she said she hadn't had a sale in 2 months. And keep in mind, this is the loyalty and retention department. People are calling in to cancel services. So it's a pretty steep climb to get a customer to go from, hey, I want to cancel this, to, yeah, I'd like to purchase something. I'd like to add a line. And sometimes we got overflow calls and things like that. So it was possible to do it, but some people struggled with it more than others. I really enjoyed working there, and the benefits were outstanding. AT&T has outstanding benefits. It was a union job, and that was a little different for me. We got graded on, the commission structure was very complicated. I still don't know that I could explain it. We got graded on if the customer had to call back within 7 days of talking to us. We also got graded on if they were a customer 28 days later, or if they left AT&T within that 28-day span. We also got graded on the surveys they turned in. They tried to send out about 20 surveys a month, and so you never knew which customers are going to get them, which ones weren't. You hoped that they went to people that liked you, and that those surveys went well. The first 4 or 5 months I was on it, did great on the surveys. This last month I was there, I was about average. So, but yeah, it's definitely a great place to work. It was great for me as a recovering from a stroke, because I could learn something new every day. It challenged my mind, and it was a safe environment for me to heal and recuperate. It was about almost a half-mile walk from where I parked my pickup to my desk, so I got a lot of exercise, lost a lot of weight. I'm down to 230 pounds right now, and so it's a great experience. I left on good terms. My manager said I was eligible for rehire, We still text occasionally. We've texted since I've left work. And so, yeah, all in all, great place to work. I don't have a lot of bad to say about them, but with any review, you've got to have some bad. It can't all be good. And so I would say, yeah, very positive experience with AT&T, and I would definitely do it again. But next time I did it, I would do it with a lot less debt. And so we'll see what happens in the future. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Make sure to share it with your friends. Make sure you're subscribed so you get notifications when future videos come out, and give this video a thumbs up. It's free to do and it'll help me out a lot. All right, folks, I'll catch you on the next one. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.